Let's talk book pages. Hi everyone, it's Justina here from House of Mahalo, and today in this week's Sort It Out Saturday, we're going to be focusing on book pages. Not the book pages that we love to fussy cut from and just generally use the images, but text book pages. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely drowning in them. Let me show you. I've got book pages here, in this cubbyhole, down here, more paper, more book pages, more books. I have folders of book pages. That goes all the way back. I can't quite reach it, my chair's in the way, but more book pages. And don't even get me started on what's in this box. It's positively full of book pages, music sheets, vintage paper, you name it. I'm drowning and I need help. So that's my plan for this week. I need to tackle my never-ending supply of book pages, music sheets, vintage paper, just generally the textbook sort of side of things. Because I don't know about you, I love to use the images and I always find, ways to use those, but I'm just drowning in everything else. So that's my plan. Now I'm not going to don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me go through boxes and boxes full of vintage paper. That's not going to help anyone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you my ideas for sorting through my stuff. So obviously these ideas, they're nothing groundbreaking, they're nothing new. Basically, I've come up with a list of types of book pages and stuff that I tend to use a lot, and I want them all organised. I want the fussy cut illustrations, I want the large book pages that I use as pages or envelopes or folios, kind of a thing. I want neutral toned book pages, I want the lot. So I'm going to have an organisation system like that. So in a minute, I'm going to show you a list of what I think is the right way to go. And then on top of that, obviously I need to come up with a project as to how we can use some of these book pages. Of course, I could come up with hundreds. I want to come up with some really good ways of using up lots of book pages or lots of paper in one go. And I have a few ideas. So I'm also going to show you a list of the projects that I have in mind, because as I sort through my pages and my music sheets and all of the rest of it, I'm actually going to take out things that I think would be perfect for those projects I have in mind. So before I even tackle those cubby holes, those boxes, those piles of paper, I'm going to have in my mind what is it that I'm actually looking for, as well as how can I better organise what I've got. Ideally, I do want to try and downsize what I've got too. Really, I don't think I should have 2 cupboards worth, a box full, plus folders full of paper. If I'm not going to use them, I'm going to have to send some out as a happy mail or something. But either way, I want to downsize. I want to have a manageable pile of paper, because I'm always adding to it anyway, aren't we all? But on top of that, we need to get some projects in. So let me show you my first list, which is going to be how I plan on organising, like what I think that I need for organising my paper and my book pages. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. So I will make these sheets that I'm going to share with you now available on my blog, which is houseofmahalo.com. But at first, these are some organisation ideas that I have for the types of categories of book pages and sheets that I want to separate out. So I want to have a folder for neutral book pages and music sheets, and I would use this for collaging, decoupage, that kind of thing. Anytime that I want something neutral that isn't strong enough to be its own thing, and it would just be part of a collage or to decorate something, that would be folder number 1. Then I would like to have neutral plain pages. So if you imagine the ends of books, so you get sheets like this, the fly sheets I think they're called, where and even sheets like this where it's just got the word cricket on it, and that could be a very nice journal backing, or journal card backing or a tag backing, something where you need to back something with plain paper for some writing space. That's what I want to have in there. I might also put in my tea-dyed papers and that kind of thing in the same folder, but basically if I'm looking to back a journal card or a tag, I know exactly what folder to go to. The next one is to have sturdy book pages that are plain. So I would use these for making bases for things. So, you know, book page pockets, folios, trifolds, envelopes, even collage masterboards where you collage on top of the book page. So this type of a page would be things like the index pages in the back of botanical books or atlases. You know, you get the sort of, they're not very exciting at the end, you just get a list of plant names or something. If the paper is strong enough and sturdy enough, that could be a really good base for making some ephemera. So that's what I'll have there. So that is sturdy book pages plain. Then I'll be looking to have sturdy book pages pretty separated out. So these are pages like botanical book pages that I might want to make into decorative pockets, folios, trifolds, envelopes, that kind of a thing. So whereas the plain ones will require decorating up with other papers and collaging and that kind of a thing, the pretty versions are sturdy enough in their own right and they'll probably need limited decoration. So I'd like to have those split out. Then we've got special pages, and I consider these to be interesting pages or pretty pages that you would want to use as journal pages. So in your journal, you simply fold it up, put it into your signature. That's what I would like to have split out. So when I'm, you know, I'll use a digital, I'll use music sheets. What else do I want to add? I might have some tea-dyed paper, in which case I'll go to the neutral plain folder. But what if I'm looking for something else, something interesting, unique, ledger pages, that kind of a thing? That's what I'll have in special pages. Then I'm going to have a folder for cover stars. This is images or pages that I think belong on the cover of a journal or that really need to be made into a feature. So whether that be on a journal cover or as part of a altered file folder, they belong, you know, pride of place. I want to have those split out so I know exactly what I've got, and then that can inspire me to work on specific projects. Then we're going to have a folder for pretty pages for cutting down. So I consider these to be pages that you can use as ephemera or journal cards. So maybe the page is this big, but you want to use this part of an image. That could be a very nice journal card perhaps, and that will be a folder for its own stuff. Then we'll have a fussy cutting folder. So any pages that I find that I want to cut the flowers from or leaves or something like that, I'll have all my fussy cuts in one folder, which then I can grab whenever I have an evening free. We're going to have a folder for strips. So these are the, you know, the long strips that you cut off from, you know, the ends of pages when you're cutting things down to size. We're going to have a folder for those. And you can do lots of things with these. I'm sure you've got your own ideas. Just some of my ideas are to make collage masterboards. So you can glue the strips down and, you know, use those. Page edges, so some pretty edges down the side. Maybe this will be the base of those. You know, you can add lace and sparkly things perhaps. I've done that in various journals. Word dangles, I did a tutorial on this recently, where you can use little strips of paper. So yes, I would like to have a folder just for strips because again, they have sort of a specific purpose, I guess, compared to other things. And then I'm going to have a folder specifically for glue sheets. So these are the pages that we like to glue on top of to protect our desk. And, you know, we don't want to use them for anything else because maybe they don't have very nice words on them. Maybe they just don't excite us enough, and therefore we're going to use them as glue sheets. So I would have a folder just for those, so that when I'm finished with what's right next to me here on my desk, so I've got a magazine at the moment which I use for gluing on. When I'm done with that, I can grab my glue sheet folder and pick out the next sort of batch of things to glue on top of. I've also put just an italicized bit down here to say you might also want to have a folder for specific projects or specific types of pages. Some ideas come to mind with Edith Holden and the Flower Fairies. Generally, those types of book pages have a very specific purpose. So maybe you've already dismantled the book. I personally would split them out. So I'm going to have an Edith Holden folder and a Flower Fairies folder, just because if I'm going to make something with Edith Holden, I'm probably going to make the whole thing. You know, it's an Edith Holden project. Not everyone will do it that way, but that's just how I am going to work. So I've just put that down there that you might want an extra folder for, yeah, keeping stuff like that separate so that you can use it for those special projects that you have in mind. So that is my ideas for how I want to organise my pages, and I thought I would share these with you in case it gives you a good starting place for your own supplies. As I say, I will put these sheets on my blog, which is houseofmahalo.com. I will post a link down below once I've done that, so you can go ahead and print this out as I've done. And then we want to move on to some project ideas. So what I have in mind for starting this organisation is I suspect I have certain categories of pages where the folders are going to be fit to bursting. So I've come up with some project ideas that I might want to prioritise straight away. And for me, these are some ideas of how we might be able to use up our textbook pages quickly. So we can mass make some folios, trifolds, envelope and pocket bases. So you don't have to worry about decorating them, just get the bases made up. And then you've got some ephemera ready to embellish and decorate in the style of your choosing when you come to actually make your journal. We can glue together multiple music sheets and we can decorate with napkins to make insides of journal covers. So I'll just show you an example of what I mean by that so it's clear. So this is the inside of my Purple Flower Fairies journal that I'm currently working on. And the way that I've done the inside cover is I made this great big sort of massive sheet of music sheets, and I basically just glued them together so that the borders slightly overlapped. And in places where it maybe needed an extra bit of strength, I added some more music page. I then went over it with some napkin, and what it gave me was this great big sheet that I could cut down to size for specific projects. In this case, I used it to line up my journal cover. So will you be able to see? Can you see the music page behind the napkins? This worked so well, and I will 100% do this again because it also used almost an entire napkin. I think I had the whole napkin, and then obviously I've just cut it down to size. So, you know, it's a decorative inside cover of a journal ready to be used, and it was really, really easy and quick to put together. It also used up music pages. I think the whole thing was like 12 music sheets, which was, you know, quite considerable. We can make several collage masterboards. So we can use our sturdy book pages, you know, the plain ones. We can use those as masterboard bases, collage on top of it, and we can make several of them. We can mass make those, and that will be a good way to use up both scraps and pretty book pages and papers, as well as the sturdy plain ones. We can use strong but boring pages as backings for fabric and lace pockets. So if you've got a nice pocket in your journal that's going to be made from fabric, we can back it with some of our boring book pages. The only thing I would say is it doesn't have to be especially sturdy and thick, but just sturdy enough that if you're going to pull things in and out of the pocket, the book page is not going to, you know, wear away. So that can be a good way to strengthen the fabric and lace pockets so that they're more usable without taking away necessarily from their beauty. And then the last one that I have, and the one that I'm most excited about, is to decoupage stuff with plain book pages. So this is probably something that I'm going to prioritise because I have a lot of stuff that I want to decoupage, and I have a lot of book pages that need using up. So things that we can decoupage would be storage boxes, shelf in your craft room, furniture. You can even make artwork. So an idea I have for some artwork, which I will show you when I come around to doing it, that may even be the project that we do later today. And it's going to be an art canvas. I'm going to decoupage with plain, boring textbook pages. And then once that's dry, I'm then going to add some fussy cuts and some fussy cuts or napkins. I haven't quite decided, but something on top to make it a decorative feature. And then I'll have some beautiful artwork that I can display in my craft room, which will look beautiful, but also use up a ton of book pages, you know, in one go. So as I say, these two sheets, both the list of how you might want to separate things out and also what some ideas are that we could try to do, I will put these up on my blog and I will link that down below for you. So I hope that you find it helpful. So wish me luck. I think I'll need it for this one. I've I've kind of wanted to put it off. I didn't want to do this one so early on in the series, but it's one of the biggest issues that I have. So I'm going to have to tackle it head on. Wish me luck. And when I come back, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have sorted out a pile of pages that we can use in some projects together later on today. And then also, hopefully, I would have downsized what I've got. What do you reckon? Do you think I'll manage it? Fingers crossed. I think I'm going to tackle these folders first of all. These are not all book pages, but a lot of them are. I think that'll be my first job. Oh my goodness, I had no idea I had this many folders full of book pages and music sheets. I've counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 9 folders here. So these are A4 plastic wallets. I went with a tip someone gave me once, which was to keep stuff in clear wallets, so you can see when your folders are getting like really chock full, and so therefore is there a project you need to do to use up some of it. Equally, do you have folders that are really very empty, like here for example, and so therefore you need to replenish what you've got in it, whatever it is. So these are all the folders that I've got in that box related to vintage paper. So I'm gonna go through each of these one by one, and hopefully that will clear up folders where I want to use these to help me organise my papers. Look what I just found. I just had to show you. I've just found these in amongst some random papers. Those birds. Look at those images. I have no idea what book this is from, but those are beautiful. They are going in Journal Card Central. They really need to be used for something. Okay, so I'm now turning attention to this sort of area of the room. So I've just worked on clearing this up. So these are glue books. You know, what I intend to use as glue sheets, because the text of the book pages is not very nice. And these are all sort of plain papers that I might use as printing papers or general art papers. I don't know if I'll keep it like that, but for now, that is a clear cubby space ready for me to do something with. So I'm going to now concentrate on this pile, which actually I have a feeling most of that is religious ephemera that I was going to send to someone who does Bible journaling. So that could be actually a really easy job, even if it doesn't look it. And I'm also going to work on this area. So these are books that I've either started to dismantle ready to use, and you know, I've used pages from them or something. So I've got a couple of Edith Holden type of books, or they're books that I intend to use for specific journaling. So if I show you an example, here's a cute little Edith Holden, small size, paperback. I did not know they came in this size until I found that. So I'm going to concentrate on this. So I think what my first job will be is the books that don't have covers. I'm actually going to go through these now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide what images or pages I will use, because not all of these pages are going to be my kind of colours, and that's fine. So then I can, you know, get rid of the rest and just keep what it is that I'm actually going to use and get joy from. So those will be those 2 books. Probably also this one as well. Again, there's quite a lot of fussy cut images in here that I would use, some that I wouldn't. So I'm going to go through that. And yeah, that's my first job, and then we'll see where we're up to when I've done that. Okay, so this is now how we're currently looking. As you can see, nice big space there. This whole 2 shelves here does need a sort out though. It's not too bad, but it does need a sort through and probably changing around a bit. Underneath here, so now I've just got the books that I use a lot for journaling, and these are all ones now that haven't yet been dismantled, so you know, they're ready to be used. I think I've taken a couple of pages from this bird book, but really nothing major. So I've kept them as full books so that I can you know, just grab the book, and once I'm ready for Edith Holden, for example, I'll then start dismantling the books. But until then, I'm happy with them as they are. These are just some travel folders in the back there. And then I've got these two file folders, both matching with the nice palm trees, palm leaves. These are now completely empty. So I've got an empty one at the back. I've got this one. And yeah, these are just some empty folders that I've now found, and some, you know, like folder tab thingies. So I'm keeping those there for now. I don't know what I'm going to house in them, but that's really great. I've now got 2 folders, you know, boxes, and all of this space for storage. So I'll keep you posted with what ends up with those, but for now, that's all looking good. Now we're on to this cubby and this box. So these are all papers on top, these are all going, but we've got this box here which is still full. I haven't tackled that one yet. But I'm going to do the cubby first. I have a feeling most of these are either large book pages that I didn't know what to do with, like atlas type pages, or they're going to be glue books because they're probably not very nice materials in there. So I'll go do that now, and I will come back, show you what it looks like. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we end up with an empty cubby that I can then use for something, just like this one. 2 empty cubbies, what do you reckon? I think we can do it. Sorting through this cubby, I found these, my Ernest Nister books. I'll just show you. They've got some really, really nice images and little poems in. I think once upon a time I was planning on, I was going to turn these into little journals, because, you know, you can pull down these little arrows just here, look. And they change, they're like moving picture books, changing picture books. I completely forgot I had these. Future project maybe. Just found this. It's a music sheet. Somebody has stamped specimen. How fun is that? I thought this would make an interesting page. It sort of flips out and it's blank on the back. It'd be a very interesting journal page, wouldn't it? Just found it in the cubby hole. The cubby is now empty. Everything is sorted into folders. And look what I just found. Some roses I pressed that I got from my husband. And they're in perfect condition despite being just in that cubby. So I guess I'll be getting the petals off of these ready for some specimen cards or something. How beautiful. I've completely forgotten all about that. Alright, here we go. The last box of book pages, music sheets, and just general, like, nice bits of vintage paper. Yes, I would like an empty box by the end of it, and I would like everything sorted into my folders that I've got, which, as you can see, are fit to bursting, so we'll definitely need to do some projects with this stuff, but I would like to use this box for something else if I can. We'll see how it goes. So that took me a surprisingly short amount of time, about 10 minutes, and now we can see bottom of box. And I found these, some Edith Holden pages, and how pretty is that? A book about the Trossachs National Park up in Scotland. There's some really nice images that I've clearly held on to. Let me just show you this one. Loch Lomond. My husband and I holidayed there once, many years ago now, but yeah, beautiful place. So I'd clearly held on to those for something, but all the rest is now sorted, so I'm just going to go through these last sheets, and then that will be it. That is the last box. Everything will now be in, you know, one place for me to see exactly what I've got. So I'll come back in a second and I'll show you what I learned and what I'm going to do next. And we're back to a familiar view. I have finished sorting all of the book pages and vintage ephemera, music sheets, etc. So I'll show you what I've ended up with. But before I do that, I just wanted to quickly show you these because I just found them. And yeah, completely forgot I had them, but I wanted to show you because they're so special. So I've got these botanical book pages or book plates. I believe these are from the 1900s, so you know that they are vintage. I've got 2 of them. How beautiful are these? I need to find something special to do with these. Either keep them as is or cut them down into journal cards. You know, sort of, that could be a journal card, like 2 journal cards to each one, because they are blank on the back. Or I just keep them as is. But yeah, those are so special. And I found some books from, pages from, I think this is Thorburn's Birds. So how beautiful. I really, really think I'm going to put this on my wall actually, because I just love it. This one as well. So which birds were these? These are the warblers. These ones are flycatchers. And a waxwing. I recognise that one. Aren't they beautiful? And these ones I'm less fussed about. I think those 2 are my favourite, and I might turn them into artwork. These ones I think are beautiful. They're just, you know, not necessarily my favourites. Partridges and quails. What are these? Oyster catchers. Black-winged stilt. I guess these are the wading type birds, some of them. The great bustard. What are these? These are crakes and coots. I suppose, yes, I recognise these from, you know, lakes and ponds and things. And lastly, plovers. Some of these are. But yeah, they're absolutely beautiful images. But yes, I think these 2, I think I want to frame and put on my wall, to be honest. I don't think I can bear to part with them. I just think they're absolutely stunning. And aren't these gorgeous as well? So yeah, I just wanted to share those because I just think they're so special. For now, so these 2 I'm going to put in a different folder to make sure I actually turn them into something. These ones I'm going to put in my ephemera folder, which I'll show you in a second. So yeah, I'll just I'm going to go through the folders just to show you how I've organised them, and you can see what each folder looks like as well, because they're very different. So I've still ended up with 9 folders in total. I'll show you these 3 to start with. But now all of my book pages I could possibly own in this room are now categorised into folders. So I'm really happy that I can now see exactly what I've got. So this is ephemera. So you just saw the, you know, the bird pictures and botanicals. So these are some book pages, but also things that I could turn into greeting cards or ephemera to put into journals. That's what that folder is. So not too bulky. We're doing okay. I've put Edith Holden into its own folder because I'm actually going to do an Edith Holden project once I've done the Flower Fairies, I think. So yeah, these are, obviously I've got the book still, but these are the ones that are loose pages or, you know, little things that I've cut down to size. And then this folder is, this one is interesting journal pages. So if I show you some examples. So things like this. This is from a music book, just a blank manuscript. So stuff like that, or, you know, nice pretty pages that I would like to have, you know, front and back be visible. Wallpaper, colouring book pages, a mix of different things. But this is, you know, pretty pages or interesting pages to go in amongst, you know, boring pages or digitals. So that's what that one is. The only downside is it's a little bit tricky to shut, just because I've got a big book in there. So that's those. So there again, that's not too bad, but I probably don't want it to be thicker than that. Then I've got these 2. So at the moment these are scraps. So this folder is just all scraps that are not currently in my scrap box. That will be a project to do another day, to actually organise my scraps in a similar way to what I've done with the book pages. For now, I've just shoved them in here just so that they're nice, neat and tidy. And this folder has strips, which, as you can see, I don't have very many, so I could probably get these used up pretty much straight away. So, you know, just offcuts. I think I've been pretty good with keeping on top of these. So, yeah, I don't need to rush to do it, but that might be a good way to just, yeah, use them up straight away whilst it's still, you know, it's still manageable as a size. Next up, I have these two folders, which unintentionally, but works quite well. They're both in yellow folders. So these are book pages that are strong enough for making folios or envelopes or just generally, you know, ephemera pouches and stuff like that. So they're nice, strong, sturdy book pages. And I've categorized them by, this folder is pretty versions. So, you know, botanical book pages that I might like to use as envelopes or something. You know, that kind of a thing. Like this, how beautiful would this be as like an ephemera pouch or folio or something. So that's the pretty strong pages. And the other folder is the boring or plain strong pages. So things like, I've got a bunch of these. This is really, really strong paper, but it's, you know, it's quite boring. Or maps. And our firm favourite would be, where are they? They're in here somewhere. They're hidden. Oh, here we go. Our firm favourite would be index type pages. I think this came at the back of an atlas. So this type of a thing. So all these are, you know, big, they're strong, but they're plain and boring. So folio central, and as you can see, this one is quite fat. I did actually have more than I realised. So I think that will be a project that I'll prioritise just to try and get this down to a more manageable size as well. And then we have these two massive folders. This is what concerns me. So the first one, this one is plain papers that can be used for journal backings. It could also be, you know, pages in their own right, plain pages, but mostly, you know, journal backings. So generally like the, you know, the fly sheets that you get at the end of books, that type of a thing is in here. I've also put in my tea dyed papers, just so that I know exactly where they are, but generally speaking, if I'm looking for something to back a journal card with, you know, instead of scrapbook paper, this is what this folder is. But as you can see, it's fit to bursting and I can't close it. So clearly we need to make a lot of journal cards and tags to get through some of this. The other one's worse. So this is neutral pages. So, you know, music sheets, textbook pages, you know, nothing pretty, nothing particularly exciting about them. And this is, you know, what I can pull from when I'm looking for, you know, book pages to add to collage or something. But as you can see, it's massive. It's very, very heavy. There's a ton in here. Clearly, I've been neglecting this part of my craft room, haven't I? I mean, I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't realise it would be quite this bad, but you know, at least now I can see the extent of the problem. So whereas before this was in every nook and cranny of my room, you know, all these pages. So I can now see them. So I'm going to have to come up with some ideas as to exactly how I'm going to get through this many pages. Obviously I had my list at the beginning of some project ideas. I think I'm going to move up the list for decoupage. So I mentioned about using pages to decoupage things with. I'm definitely going to do that. So, you know, I've got a shelf going up in my room soon. I thought that would be a good thing to decoupage with book page. And I actually came up with an idea from some artwork as well. I've got a bunch of canvases up in the loft where I used to do embroidery on canvas actually. Some of them I'm going to sell on, but I thought I would nab a couple of the canvases and I could make some artwork for the room. So my idea is to decoupage the base of the canvas in book page. So you've got this nice interesting background. And then over the top, I was going to add some, you know, nice big images of some leaves or something, or some flowers, something like that. So that's definitely a project, you know, decoupaging with these book pages. I think I'm going to move up the list because, yeah, I really need to get through these pretty speedy because there's just too much here. I am going to do some collage masterboards as well because I've got some interesting pages like this where, you know, this would look quite nice on a collage where you know, it's a bit of an interesting text. So so some of it is plain, some of it is a little bit more interesting, but yeah, generally speaking, they are neutrals. I can just grab from this pile, but the pile is just a bit extensive. So yeah, I think I'm going to move up the list decoupage. So I'm still trying to figure out what we should do later today. I kind of want to do the decoupaging, but I appreciate it's not really a junk journal specific type of a video, which is what I'm umming and ahhing about. So either we'll do some decoupage or we'll do some folios with one of the other folders that I showed you, because they, you know, those were quite big as well. But definitely, personally, I want to do the decoupage because this is, yeah, it's huge. I kind of want to measure how wide it is, but I don't know, that's got to be, I don't know, 10 inches wide or something. Shall we see? I was close. At its widest point, it's 8.5. I think that's 8.5 inches wide. A lot, basically. So yeah, I think we want to prioritize this folder, or certainly I do. So I'll be back later today with a project. The main thing that I learned from doing this process is I'm really, really glad to have done it. I knew it was going to be a big job. So just for transparency's speaking, all in all, it took me 2 full afternoons, plus 1 morning to sort through everything. So, I mean, that's not... And in the morning, I think in the morning, actually, it was only about an hour, so that's not so bad. So yeah, 2 full afternoons plus an extra hour. So what's that, like, I don't know, 15 hours? Something like that. And once I get going, I really stick with something. So yeah, it was that full amount of time. Is that right? My maths is terrible. No, 9 hours. 9 hours. I don't know where I got 16 from. Yeah, about 9 hours worth of, you know, getting everything. But I had book pages everywhere, as you saw. You know, they were every corner of the room basically had book pages in it. So although I would consider it to be a big job, I'm so pleased that I've done it, because now everything book page related are in their respective folders, but they're all going to be in the one box that I showed you. I've pulled it out of my bookcase. I'm going to try and fit them all in there, which may or may not happen, but I'm going to try and fit as much as I can in. And of course, once I've actually done some projects with the stuff and gotten the folders down to a more manageable size, they should all fit in that box, no problem. So it will be good to have them all in the one place. So I'm not ferreting around the room all over the place. And as a bonus, I've, you know, emptied 2 cubbies, two cubbies. I've emptied a couple of folders underneath my desk, you know, those big, I don't know what to call it, like box file, magazine file things. Those are now empty, and I've also got the palm leaf print box that you saw at the end of the video, or the last job that I was doing. That's now completely empty, and I think I'm going to use that to hide. I think I'm going to use that to store vintage ephemera, because at the moment that's another thing where I've got it in you know, different boxes as opposed to just one place. So I'm glad that I've done it, even if it was a big job. And now I can definitely prioritize better what projects that I need to do soon, and, you know, what needs replenishing. You know, if I see like for example my strips, you know, I could get those used up and then I won't have any. So maybe I want to look out for, if I'm cutting off strips, I want to, you know, save them or something. That's just an example. Or on the ephemera side, you know, I had a healthy amount in there, but you know, the next time I'm working my way through a book, I can have in my mind, is this a page for fussy cutting, or is it a page for turning into a journal card, or just doing something like that with. So I should probably say I do have a folder for fussy cutting, which is also quite, you know, extensive, because as I've been going through the book pages, I have been putting pages in there that are fussy cutting. It's actually downstairs because I was doing some fussy cutting in front of the TV last night, so I can't show you that right now. But it's not too bad, and again, it's all in one place, so you know, when I have a free evening in front of the TV, when I'm watching a bit of YouTube or something, I can just grab the whole folder and fussy cut, you know, just pull out things to fussy cut from, and then I'll have flowers and leaves and butterflies which already have a home, so as I fussy cut I just put them straight into where I keep the other things of that nature. So we'll do that in another video. I'll show you how I organise my fussy cuts. Again, you know, these are ideas that they work for me and what my craft room looks like and how much stuff that I have. They might not work for everyone, but I wanted to show this process, partly to inspire you to perhaps do a spring clean of your craft room, because at the end of the day, these are big jobs, but if we can, you know, sort of get them down into a weekly activity and also get some crafting time in, then I think that's, you know, pretty good going, and could be a useful exercise for you know, some of you. Certainly has been for me. But also I wanted to share how I'm organising stuff, just because it may help. It may help you. Of course, hopefully, fingers crossed, you won't end up with a problem this sizable. But as I say, the decoupaging, I have a lot of things that I would like to decoupage with the book page. So as I say, I'll probably do those on some videos, whether that be today or a different day. I'm not sure at this point, but we'll just see how things go. And yeah, we'll do some stuff together, and you can have fun with me, fun watching me battle away with this extensive problem, or you might actually get some ideas as well for either tackling your craft room or some projects that you can work on. Anyway, I think I'm nattered on long enough. I think I said in the beginning, but just as a reminder, I'm going to put those lists up on my blog probably, which is houseofmahalo.com. I think I'm going to start a blog post in there for organising junk journal supplies. So I'll put that on there as a printable that you can grab in case you want the list. So that will be the list of types of papers that we can organise into separate folders, and the second list will be project ideas for, in this case, using up book pages and music sheets quickly, or you know, some good ideas for using things up. All right then, I'll leave you there for now. Sorry this is the last view that you see, but you know, we're all about transparency here and being honest, and yeah, sometimes crafting is not pretty. All right, well, thanks ever so much. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later for a crafty project using some of these book pages. Bye bye for now.